Good afternoon, people, Facebook fans, YouTubers, and public, the listening public. Today we're here. Today's topic is who dictates the beauty standards in the black community? Myself, John Taylor, and your favorite, JT.
Hey everybody! So we are excited to talk about this this topic, and I feel like we probably might make a part 2 on this because I think it is very broad and it's a lot to hit on. So, what's the question again?
Who dictates the beauty standards in the black community? Okay. Is it the IG models? Is it the rappers? Is it just a common everyday person?
And then you even mentioned the Kim Kardashians.
Oh, gosh. That's wild. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So there's so many influences. As an African-American woman, who influences you?
When it comes to the beauty standards in general, I think once you get to a certain age, a certain level of growth in your life, you dictate your own beauty standards. It's about you becoming comfortable in your own skin, knowing what looks good on your body, knowing what you don't like to put on, just knowing yourself. You're able to radiate that confidence in whatever you put on and however you show up in the world. So for me personally, I dictate my own beauty standards. And I've kind of always been that type of female who I was never into weave. And then I didn't have to wear weave growing up. I always had a lot of hair growing up. So I never was that girl that had, not the lace fronts. In high school, we had the quick weaves and, I didn't necessarily wear styles like that. For one, that's just not the type of personality that I have. I never was like into the weaves and the banana peel dudes. I was kind of always the French buns and and I never had to get hair added in my hair. I've always had a lot of hair, so I've always kind of been a natural girl. And when we talk about your body, your body shape, body image, and things like that. It's just kind of interesting, like when you posed the question to me about the Kim Kardashians and the Instagram models, like who said that these are the standards? Who said that this looks good? Because yes, I understand a shapely woman, and usually us as black women are shapely, nice hips, nice round bottom, that's what is natural and appealing in the black community. Always has been. Years ago, the Europeans didn't look at our body type as that was one that was with how they wanted to look and what they wanted to have. They always was slim with the big boobs, that was always the European way. But it's kind of interesting now because even though you have the Instagram models with the big butts and the Brazilian butt lifts and the Kim Kardashians with the fake lip injections and things like that, even though those things mimic the natural features of a black, it still looks fake and artificial. Like when you see Kim Kardashian or any white girl with the big lips, it looks fake. It looks artificial. When you see them with the big butts, it just does not look natural. So now I feel like the sad thing in society with these BBLs and all these injections and the filters in the face, it makes people, first off, everybody looks the same and it looks fake. It does not look natural. Okay. So now we're saying that it's okay to look like some fake plastic person. With all the extra hair. Like who looks like that on the everyday? Who naturally looks like that? Okay. So that's my issue more so with the beauty standards. Now you're giving people a false sense of what beauty is because it's something that you bought at the store, something that you injected at the laying on the lab table at the doctor's office. It's not real. It's not authentic. So, but who approved that? You know, who is approving that? The men are. The men are, you know, saying, oh, she looked good. The Kim Kardashian, she fine. The IG model with the BBL, she looked good. If women, yes, women do things to themselves, enhance their own beauty for themselves, yes. But we can't deny that we don't also do it to catch the eye of a man. So then, therefore, I do believe that men are out here, what is the word I want to use? Approving certain beauty standards in the black community. It comes down to the men.
I think it's forced on us.
It's forced?
Yeah,
okay.
Because if you're into India Ari, I remember when I first saw India Ari and Erykah Badu, I said, wow, finally. And what's the female bassist with the big fro? Gosh, I forget her name. But when I saw those three, I'm like, finally. It's about the music, and they just happen to be natural. They're wearing their hair natural. And so I thought it was refreshing to see the dreads, the kinky fros, the big fros. You know, finally sisters can be themselves.
Yeah.
And every time I see a sister that's natural, I see a baby girl that can grow up being natural.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if I were to ask you, who were your influences? Because you say you didn't do the weaves and all of that. Who did you see out there that you may have wanted to emulate?
Oh, wow.
Was there anybody out there that...
Growing up, like, of course, I liked the Whitney Houstons and the Aaliyah, definitely Aaliyah. I was more like a TLC chick, you know, so those girls were more natural. You know, TLC were more tomboyish. Aaliyah, she had more, you know, she had long, pretty hair, so her hair was, you know, regular. She was a slender chick, too. The Whitney Houston. And back then, I didn't know if Whitney Houston wore a wig or not. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So she was more of a natural woman. Who else was my beauty influences?
Now, see, when you say natural, I think non-chemical. You know, when you say natural, non-chemical.
And so when I say natural, for me, it's more so, you know, more so enhancing what you naturally have. You know, so instead of exaggerating what you may or may not have. So when I think about Aaliyah, yeah, I believe that her hair was long. It might have not been as full as it appeared to be. She might have had pieces added in it, but her hair was natural. And then you got my favorite from TLC was Left Eye. She used to always wear her hair up in a bun, you know. So I was more apt to girls that just looked, they were naturally pretty, just you know, without all the enhancements.
Okay, so Janet Jackson wouldn't have fallen into that.
Janet Jackson would have fell into that, yeah.
Beyonce?
Oh no.
It was...
I wouldn't. I would say Kelly. Kelly was my favorite from Destiny's Child.
So what's the difference between Kelly and Beyonce?
Well, we know that Beyonce, her hair is exaggerated. You know, just and that maybe it's just Beyonce's stage presence that makes her a little bit bigger, and the big hair. You know, we knew Beyonce hair wasn't real. Now you could look at Kelly and assume Kelly's hair was real because she used to have the bob. You know, so you would assume to her, or she had the short pixie cuts. So I don't know.
So playing the devil's advocate. Was it because Beyonce was lighter and wore her hair blonde that took away from that whole natural, you know?
I mean, but I wouldn't say because she was light skinned, and because I would say definitely because her hair was big and blonde. We just know that wasn't her hair. You know, we just know that that's not natural. Your hair is not so much enhanced. You know, your hair is, that's not, you know.
Okay, because when I think of natural, I think of going back to your roots. If you notice, India.Arie, she wore the head wraps, traditional African head garb. The dresses gave you that traditional African look.
Okay.
Erykah Badu, she did the same thing, head wrap. You know, when you see the Beyoncés and the who's that other artist from Trinidad? She recently
Rihanna. I love Rihanna.
You see, and
I was Rihanna in another life.
Okay, see, they don't give you that. You know, natural. When you think of natural, it's a way of life. It's the look. It's the dress. It's the music. Just the words. I mean, if you look at Lauryn Hill, naturalist. You know, she even went to the dreads. So, and then you listen to her words. So the whole natural thing, I think it's the culture of being natural. Being not being influenced by any Western standards.
Okay.
That's what I think natural is in the Black community. And if you fray from that, then now you're not natural. That's how I look at it. Any of those rappers that, you know, have the long eyelashes, and again, I'm not dogging any of that enhancement. It's okay if that's what you want to do. But I'm just saying, you know, that look is not natural.
It's
you
not,
know,
right?
So we do agree being natural is being close to your African roots. Is it safe to assume that? Okay, you have locks. But I see you as being close to your African roots as you're gonna get.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
Even if you put eyeliner on or whatever, but the hair that makes the statement, you know. So.
And I think it's interesting that because I guess I never. First off, I've only had locks for going on 3 years. So prior to me having locks, I had loose natural hair. So total 14 years I have not had a perm. However, prior to those 14 years of having a perm, I still considered myself natural because I think it's the degree in which you have awareness of so for instance, if somebody say back then I used to have, like I said, a decent length hair and it was permed because that was the only thing that I knew of, the level of my awareness, the level of my consciousness. Me having a permed straight hair was natural because I didn't have color. Well, at some point I did have color, but I didn't have weave added to my hair. I didn't have blonde wigs on, you know, so to me, because my hair was just permed and it was just straight, that was natural to me. But that was my level of consciousness, my level of awareness of what my definition of natural is. Now going forward after, 14 years, after having a relaxer, I can understand what you're saying, that level of this is natural because this is how my hair grows out of my head without any chemicals, anything like that. So when I say natural in that way, then, I mean, I guess I could, I can understand what you're saying when you talk about those individuals like the Erykah Badus and the Lauryn Hills. They were natural. They were Afrocentric in a sense.
That's it.
Okay.
Right. So natural, if you truly want to give a proper definition, it would be Afrocentric, right?
Okay.
So yeah.
I mean, I guess that's
attire, the hair, I guess. I mean, they wore makeup in Africa. They did use face paint. So yeah, I could see it.
So then my thing is too, what if you have a sister that have natural hair like me or have you know, or not, maybe not natural hair like locks, but just natural hair, but she chooses to wear wigs on top of that. Is she natural?
Well, you know, again, it's a lifestyle. Remember, we said that, you know, you're wearing the head wraps, the clothes with a little bit of, I mean, you could wear jeans, but maybe that top may have some type of ethnic energy, ethnic vibe, or design, you know. So I think it's, you can't say you're natural and then put a wig over your locks, you know, because you should be able to feel natural in any setting. You should be able to go to after 6, after 7 party, black tie event with your locks without having to cover it up with a wig. You know,
but
a true naturalist, right?
But see, this is why we're posing this question, talking about the beauty standards and who sets those beauty standards. Because at the end of the day, I can feel my most beautiful with a matted up, Sealy twist out sitting at home, but it's not acceptable to walk out into society looking that type of way based off of certain people's levels of beauty standards. So therefore, if I want to be accepted or approved in certain social settings, I'm gonna have to put a wig over my head, because that's not acceptable in certain beauty standards and social circles for me to show up looking like Miss Seeley.
But you know, it's funny. I've seen it turn, because if you look at what America's putting on your commercials, you see the interracial relationships. You see the natural. I've seen more natural hair on TV in the last 2 years than I've seen since I've been on this earth. And you know, you'll see
yes
the kids.
And no.
You'll see the kids.
But did Mr. Taylor, did you just say you see the interracial? So my thing is too. Yes, depending on what you're tuning into, you're going to see a natural hair sister like my hair, a kinky haired sister as myself. But let's be honest, when we go to looking to open up a magazine or we looking at a commercial, it's usually the sister that's mixed that got her hair out and it's curly. It's not matted, it's not kinky. It's curly. It's a loose curl, like a biracial girl.
No, we've
so
seen that.
You have a lot of people pushing natural hair, but is it our natural hair? Let's just be real.
Okay, now and now I have seen the darker skinned sister with the kinky fro. I've seen that commercial.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I've seen it on billboards.
Okay.
I just saw.
But how often?
You remember that Benetton? You remember Benetton? Mm-mm. Benetton was a designer who made it his point to include all types of all nationalities.
Okay.
And he would have the darkest, the Sudanese dark models, and I think we're finally catching up to that.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot, you know, of darker skinned sisters with the kinky fros and darker skinned brothers with dreads, and we've seen the biracial, which they're black also, and I love that because they're not straightening that curly hair. You see what I'm saying? But
it's still more acceptable to see a kinky or curly haired natural person as opposed to a tight kinky hair natural afro.
I think it's about half and a half.
It might now it might be half and half, but back then 10 years ago,
yes.
it wasn't. 10 years ago, it was
that's true.
Curly, curly texture hair as opposed to the, you know what I'm saying? But it's all about representation. Now you have people that are pushing more so to see in real time natural hair people, whether it's curly, whether it's kinky, whether it's, you know what I'm saying? So the times are changing. I'm not saying they're not, but I'm just saying initially when you had the India Aries and the Erykah Badu's, they were the only ones that were doing it. You know what I'm saying? Coming up in there, coming out showing up in their most natural, authentic. But then you had who was pushing that? BET. You didn't see MTV. You didn't see the models on the MTVs and the VH. I mean, you did see.
Well, MTV they were.
But I'm just saying, like, if you did see a natural girl, she was light skinned with curly hair. If she had a fro. Yeah. You know, so I'm just saying it's like the representation, and I'm glad, because nowadays when you're looking at television, you see all types of people represented. You see the kinky hair, you see the loose hair, you see, women in wheelchairs, you see all representations of beauty now, and that's the beautiful thing about what we live in now these days that we live in now. That's the beautiful thing. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but still, the standard now, I think, has been flipped, where now it's totally acceptable to look like you look. If you're African, of African descent, it's okay to look like an African. And I love it, because I look at the baby girls. I always go back to that, because when I'm looking at them and I'm saying they're not happy with who they are. And that disturbs me, because now you're looking at from 2 to 22. That baby girl's going to have to deal with, ooh, look at your nappy hair, and they say it in a way that what you are is not good enough. And so that's why I've always been an advocate for promoting you being who you are, and find the beauty in it. And that's what's happening now, is they're finding the beauty of it in it. You look at the movies. I mean, I just saw what's the movie, Black Panther, and the sister was bald head, dark skin, and I'm saying yes, because there's a sister who looks just like her, will be empowered by looking at her. Just like when I grew up, I'll never forget when, I tell the story when I heard my two sisters talk about, ooh, he fine, and I'm like, who are they talking about? So when they left, I went in her room, and they had an album, and that album was Teddy Pendergrass. Okay. And I'm like, whoa, they're saying Teddy's not Prince, not Howard Hewitt, not it's Switch, because Switch was the standard back then. Light skin, afro, hazel eyes. That was the standard, right, of good-looking men. And when I saw Teddy Pendergrass, I remember putting the album up to my face, and I'm looking in the mirror, and I'm like, I don't look like him, but I resemble him. Okay. And if he's fine, then I'm fine. Okay. And that's all I need. Okay. So if you see, all you got to do is connect, right? Representation. So I think it's good that even with the Woman King, right? To see those strong sisters. And, I know those baby girls are watching, and they're saying, well, I'm okay. Yeah. Right? Yeah. I'm okay. Even the tall, lanky one. I'm okay. And so I think that, when it comes to standard, we make our standard. Absolutely. Right? Yeah. I think if we get back to that, find the beauty in what you are. Absolutely. And it starts, I think, when you're growing up. Yeah. Oh, you're beautiful. Yeah. Oh, you're beautiful. You're beautiful. And so if you keep telling them they're beautiful, they'll start to believe it. And just like if you tell them, oh, you're bad, they'll start believing that they're bad. They'll start acting out. So it's important that we push it. I'm an advocate for it. I love our natural sisters. I love the fact that you can do it in corporate America. There's a sister that is the director at Fair Hill Partners, and she's wearing her hair kinky twisted. And I told her the other day, I said, I love your hair. Keep doing it, because some baby girl is watching you. Absolutely. And she's in a position of authority. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it works, So it works. Yeah. So now, people, we have to figure out, how do we change the thinking, the philosophy of your so-called nappy hair is bad. right? Your dark skin is ugly, right? Because I've been told you're kind of cute to be dark skinned. I've heard that. But a light skinned person, just because they're light skinned, they're pretty or they're good looking. How do we change that thinking, JT? How do we change that? How do we raise our babies to get that mindset eliminated? How do we eliminate that? I saw a lady the other day squeezing her baby's nose. Oh, I don't want her nose to be, and I'm like, whoa, whoa. You know, who told her that her nose was ugly? You know? How do we change that?
I mean, like you said, it definitely starts at the foundation, the way you raise your children. You know, like you said, the beauty standards. Are you as a parent comfortable in your own skin to show up and show your child a level of confidence? And unfortunately, we know how we raise our children. We know, oh, I didn't raise him to not open the doors. I didn't raise him to be this way. But let's just be honest, they are influenced by their peers. They're influenced by things that, you know, they see in media. So it doesn't matter if I grow up being my most authentic, you know, confident, natural sister self. My son could still go out and marry a white woman. It's just dependent on what he wants, what he's perceived, and what he's been introduced by and connected to, or what, you know. Just for instance, if he go, like, say for instance, my son grew up in a predominantly white school. His only access to connection would be those individuals who are, you know, if he's in a predominantly white school, he's being introduced to white people. I'm just keeping it as a simple example. So therefore, his chances of dating another black person, if it's predominantly white, is going to be slim. So it just might be what he's introduced to. It might just be what he, you know, what he perceives as beautiful. It doesn't matter how I show up. He still might think I'm the most beautiful person in the world, most beautiful woman in the world, but he still might choose something else just because that's what he sees for himself. You know, but what I will say is, if you raise a child to hate themselves in a sense, oh, you know, you too dark. Let's see if we can get you some fade cream. Your hair don't be walking out of here with a nappy head. You know, calm that. So now when you're putting those types of, you know, words and that type of energy into a child, then they will have a level of resentment because that's the environment that they're in. So then they definitely will shy away from that. Ooh, I can't. She walking around here with nappy head. My mama always told me to comb my hair before I walk out, and now she walking. So in a sense, it's how you perceive it. If it's perceived negative, it's gonna be negative. If it's perceived positive, it might be positive. But that does not still mean that they won't go the opposite way or be influenced or find something else attractive.
Right. And on the flip side, speaking for our lighter skinned brothers and sisters, I know quite a few of them who have dealt with being light and calling, you know, all types of names because of their complexion. So it goes both ways, you know. The main thing is just, like you said, you know, if you're raised in an environment that loves whatever complexion you are. My grandmother used to always say, baby, you are who you are because that's who you are. So love who you are because that's who you are. So if you get that and understand, no matter what, you just have to find others who are like you and who likes you.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, I remember growing up, my mother said, if you bring another yellow girl in his house, I'm gonna scream. And I said, Mom, everybody lighter than me. You know, so she was like, no, because at one point I thought, you know, I may have had a color thing, you know, but it was, to be honest, it was just the opposite. They was on me because I was dark.
Okay.
And they happened to be yellow.
Right.
Or light or red.
Right.
And so it flipped, and I was liking who was liking me, right? So, you have that. So it's all types of energy, whether it's positive or negative, that can come at you, that can alter the way you pick and choose who you date or who you're with. So again, it goes back to when you're growing up. If you grow up loving everyone, loving your natural hair, loving your loose curled hair, being biracial, have no issues, or being all black, have no issues. So, but then it goes back to the colorism, how America is a lot of the TV shows and athletes and actresses are dictating what and how we should look, what we should wear, how we should wear our hair. I saw the colored wigs back in the day with Nicki Minaj, and she was doing her thing, and it's cool. Adornment is cool. If you want to switch it up, that's fine. But that's show business.
Yeah.
But for the common everyday person,
thank you.
What do you do?
Right.
What do you do?
And I definitely, like you said, for the common everyday person, is that appropriate to show up in that way? Like, I get it if it's a special occasion, you want to throw a pink little something in your head. Is that appropriate for every day? Same thing when it comes to, a lot of the women that's out here wearing these eyelashes. Don't get me wrong, eyelash enhancements and extensions can be very flattering and cute, but I do think that you could go overboard and you could start to look, like I said, artificial. You walking around here with these nails. What are you doing every day, man, where you're able to show up to work with these long stiletto nails? I don't know if you typing. I mean, you might be typing, I just don't know. So I do feel like there is a line that's crossed where, it's just, I don't want to say inappropriate, but like you said, like for your everyday, is this your everyday gauge? Like, you showing up every day with these long nails. This is how you function every day with nails out to here. And you wearing today you wearing the blue. Tomorrow you got on pink. You know what I'm saying? Where are you going? Don't get me wrong, I'm not judging. I'm definitely about creative expression. But the reason I say this is because to a certain degree, I think that it gives people a false sense of reality, in a sense. And the reason why I say that is because when we talk about the BBLs and we talk about the lip injections, when going back to that, men might really think that this is how women show up every day and showing up every day, and this is how they look. But once you take off that makeup, once they got to go back and get those lips injection, or 10 years after that butt is hanging and sagging, this is what you're left with. It's like, do you realize this is not real? Do you realize that this is, fake? And that's all. I guess for me, I've always been that type of person. Like, I don't never want to not look like what I look like. You see what I'm saying? Like, I never want anybody to wake up one day and I come to the door and they, hey, is Jatwasha here? Like I never want anybody to look at me like that. Like, oh, I didn't even know that was you. No, I want to just look. I want to look like me all the time. Maybe I just want to look enhanced one day. Put together one day.
Yeah.
And, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's all.
And it's crazy. I knew this lady I was seeing years ago. She was a makeup artist, and her face was the perfect canvas for makeup. And I swear, the lady that went to the bathroom to take the makeup off was not the same lady. Ooh. It blew me away. Yeah. It blew me away. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
Is that? Wow.
Yeah.
So, so now the guy, he's into what he saw with the makeup, and makeup's not on, and it's like,
you got catfished.
That's what it is.
But so here's the next part onto that. Why are we as women and as men, because I feel like nowadays you got enhancements for men too. Why are we so consumed with it? Why are we so consumed with, don't get me wrong, like I said, I understand the creative expression, doing your makeup. I love to see the transformation before and after. I love it. But I do think that there's a thin line between you accepting what you really see in the mirror without the enhancements, as opposed to what you look. So it's like, are you even deceiving yourself? Like, I'm showing up every single day looking like this, in the moment I take off my makeup, I don't feel as confident as I did, or I don't feel like anybody's going to accept me unless I show up every day in this full face. Are women being like, and men, are we really okay with what we see in the mirror? Let's just be honest. And if we aren't, are we doing these things to cover up? Just like the same, like when we think about every time we turn on social media, somebody want to sell us something that's going to make our life better, make me look better, make me feel better, make me do better, make me get more money, make me, we are allowing social media to tell us what we need to make ourselves feel better. When that could be very toxic. That could be very toxic. I mean, I'm guilty of it. Every time somebody, Juvia's Place got a new foundation out. Oh, let me look. I'm watching 50 different reviews on the foundation. 50 reviews on this new mascara by Maybelline. So I mean, we're all guilty of it. I just think that some people might not be aware that they are using it to cover up. In reality.
Wow.
And that's the scary part. That's the damaging part, is when you don't even realize it.
Wow.
When you are desensitized from it.
Wow, that is heavy. Wow. Great topic.
Yeah.
Wow. So we just have to wow. Never looked at it like that. That is pretty heavy. You're fooling yourself.
Yeah.
That's deep.
I mean, and I'm not saying that's for everybody, but I do think some individuals might, if you can't step out the house and go to the grocery store without spending an hour, 45 minutes in the mirror, don't get me wrong, I understand you need to show up. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. But I do think that if you are honest with yourself, are you doing this because, I just want to be ready, I can see anybody, or are you doing this because you can't even face the world without having on this mask? And I was just talking to a friend about the mask that we wear. And I'm talking about, not necessarily a mask of makeup or whatnot, but the mask that we put on to show up in the world. I'm an introverted person, but I feel like I have to put on my extrovert mask when I come and do P.O.V.
You're introverted?
Yes!
Publicly. I don't know what she did.
I got my mask on, y'all.
I don't know what she did that from. I don't know.
Anybody that knows me to the core knows that I am an introverted person.
Wow.
So
I don't know you then. I do not know you.
Yeah, I mean, I might put a... Mr. Taylor, I might put my mask on, Mr. Taylor, but I feel like I like to talk though. So I like to have deep conversations. Don't ever see me out in the street like, hey, it's nice weather. Yeah, it is nice weather. Have a good one. But if you want to dig in, they controlling this weather. Yeah, they controlling this weather. Let's sit down and talk about it. So no, I'm definitely not a small talk person, but I'm definitely an introverted person. I do my time by myself. Let's get back to the mask. We do put on masks. We put on different masks to show up in society in a acceptable manner. Mr. Taylor, you said you don't feel like you have to show up in the world. You don't think that people need to show up in the world with a mask on?
No, as Cameo once said, be yourself.
Okay.
So if you're yourself 24/7, people will know how to approach you. They'll know how to deal with you because you're the same person all the time. Have you ever ran into someone, you speak, conversation's cool, next time you see them, no conversation, you're like, wow, what happened to them? And so now you don't know, you're walking on eggshells, you don't know how to approach it. Should I say something? Should I not? So the beauty of life is just being who you are 24/7. That's the beauty of, I know I live that way. if anybody who knows me, JT, will know I'm that same silly, cool dude who's gonna handle his business, who cares about people in the community. That's that same dude, 24/7. You ask him across the board, and it doesn't change, right? It doesn't change.
It doesn't change, but at the same time, if you tell somebody to be them, be themselves, what if that is them? What if one day I'm in a good mood? What if the next day don't say nothing to me? That's me showing up and being, but then I feel like because people can't put you in a box, like, oh, she is a very social person. Oh, she's a very nice person. Oh, he a cool person. People want to put you in a box instead of just, like you said, like they want to be able to gauge, like.
Well, it goes back to people want to be consistent.
Okay, right? I get that.
Consistent, right?
Yeah.
In your relationship,
yeah.
You want your dude to call you every day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You want him to be nice to you.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
Just consistency. That's all.
I get the consistency.
So if you don't speak to me and you tripping on me one day and then the next day you're all nice. No. Inconsistency. That's why it's called inconsistency. Right? It wouldn't be called inconsistency if it was consistent. So I think it's good when I know JT is gonna have that smile, we're gonna laugh, she's gonna be cool, she's outgoing.
Today.
See what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about. That's the real JT, right? Those who don't know.
How do you know that this is the real JT?
Because it's easy to do.
It's easy to do because this is the mask that I have on today. So it is easy to do. Once I take this mask off, I'm like, okay, which mask I'm about to put on now? Or I could be at home and not have on no mask at all and be like, I am really happy right now. And be genuinely happy, but that's not appropriate for society for me to be like, I am absolutely happy right now. Oh my God, I'm so happy to be sitting on my couch, looking at my plants, watching YouTube. I have to say it like this. Oh my gosh, I am so happy to be sitting at home. But either way, whether I'm smiling and saying it in that way or sitting with a straight face saying that I'm happy. But if you don't smile and say it, people are not going to believe you. So that's why I say, like, sometimes.
But if you were to just keep that bland look all the time, then that's believable.
Hey, so then I have to take off my mask in order to show up authentically.
Yeah. We're
gonna see. If I come to the shop on Wednesday, Mr. Taylor, like, hey, Mr. Taylor, how you doing? You gonna be looking at me, JT, you all right?
If that's you, But Smokey said, the smiles on my face, it's there just to fool the public. Right?
Smokey Robinson said that?
Said that.
What song?
Yeah, Tears of a Clown.
Well, I might have to listen to that.
Tears of a Clown.
What'd he say again?
The smile on my face. It's just there just to fool the public. Right?
Okay, Smokey.
And we've all done it.
All right, Smokey.
Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you wasn't happy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You were frustrated.
Yeah.
Whatever the situation is.
But it's just to
put that smile on your face, right?
This is the truth.
So you gotta be as an old man told me years ago, rest his soul, he said, son, be good to yourself. And if you got that, everything else is cool. Be good to yourself. Right?
Yeah.
So why should we put that frown, that mask on to mask whatever you're dealing with? Just deal with it and still be you. You don't have to have it. You don't have to be with that person. You don't have to deal with them at work, You don't have to conform. Do your own thing. Do your own thing. And I love it. I love doing my own thing.
I think it's time for everybody to start normalizing being normal. Like, let's normalize being normal.
You're right. That's
showing up with, like, and I'm an advocate for taking off the mask. The makeup mask, the clothes mask, the emotional mask. Like, I think it's important. It's important because people are dying behind these masks. People are, and if you do have a mask on, nobody can really connect to the real you. All right, well.
So now it's about time to wrap it up. Great conversation as usual. JT, I'm telling you, we're going to go far with her.
We'll see. We'll see once I take this mask off. We'll really go out this way.
So great. And our next show, because it's Black History Month, we have a special show, the Black Vietnam veterans and their story.
Yes.
Not their story, but the real story. What really happened to them in Vietnam. Very interesting. So the next time we'll see you in another 2 weeks. Is that it, Jay?
Yeah.
In 2 weeks, we'll be back at you. And again, we'd like to thank you for your viewership.
Yes.
And tell a friend and tell a friend and tell a friend to like. And
follow us on our YouTube channel, the P.O.V. the podcast. All right, follow. Okay. We would like to go live. So if we get 50 followers on our YouTube channel, we could go live and we can have live Q&A questions answered.
Nice.
So that we got some things in store for POV. So hang in with us, continue to support us, give us your feedback, and POV.
And always, as Mr. Richardson once said, be good to yourself. Thanks for listening. JT!